So today we are going to talk about mastering design patterns for Salesforce success. So today we will be covering these areas, and I know this design pattern is not just a small topic, so it has a vast area. But today I'm going to mainly target or focus on the integrating patterns, architectural patterns, and Apex specific patterns. But anyway, so we need to have some introduction about design patterns before we move. Uh, right. So what is this design pattern? If someone can answer, I have some cool gift from Sri Lanka. What is design pattern according to you? Sorry? Okay. All right. So this design pattern, so normally it's a recurring solution, and a recurring solution for a common problem. So if we are representing, the design patterns are representing the best practices, especially because when we are going to solve a problem, there are many ways, but especially we need to use the best practices as well as the best method to get the maximum out of the system, especially in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. So, so normally these design patterns, uh, if I give one example, so I think all of you know Lego. So if let's say you might have a kid in house at house, so if we build something with Lego, what is the first piece that you select? Because we can build things with Lego in many ways. The biggest, because we need to have the base, the proper base to build the rest of the things. So the design pattern is also the same way. So we need to have a proper base to start our system or design our system, and also this requirement is getting changed. So always we need to build systems that are futuristic. So we should be able to adapt with the new requirements, new features, and new requirement from the customer. So why this is more important? I think we discussed a couple of things related to this. Why it is more important? The first thing is the scalability and the maintainability. Now, when we talk about Salesforce development, it's actually a diverse range of projects, because we can build many number of requirements or many number of projects within Salesforce, because currently the Salesforce has a large ecosystem. Um, so regardless of the project scale or the complexity, we should be able to have a design to build our system. So uh, so these design patterns provide the scalability and the maintainability. So you should be able to scale your system. We through the design patterns we can reuse our code. It can be within the system, or it can be in any other project also. And also especially the separation of concerns. So this is one of the main component, main importance, that by using the design patterns we can separate the concerns, separate the functionalities, separate our requirements within the system. And of course some design patterns are there, they are focusing on performance optimization as well, especially when it comes to the query optimization. And also design pattern is they are supporting for a better error handling, and testing. When it comes to the the error handling, so we should be able to have a proper error handling mechanism when we are building a large scale system. And of course, by using design patterns, we can enable the team collaboration, because most of the team members, they need to use this they need to reuse the code, and also they need to then it will support to collaborate within the team. And also flexibility, and it brings this flexibility as well as the extra security layer. And also we can adhere to the industry standards. So there are common design patterns in Salesforce that we can use. I think you have already heard about the creational, structural, and behavioral. And apart from that, we have Apex specific patterns as well as architectural patterns. The creational. So these creational design patterns are mainly focusing on the object creation, and also the controlling the object creation. And we have many few number of design patterns. I'm not going to go deep in those areas, but under the creational design patterns, we have singleton, factory method, builder, abstract factory, and the prototype. And we have structural design patterns. This is to the deal with the object composition and also the structure of the classes. So and also they can ensure that one of the part is changed in the system, and we don't need to change everything in the system. And we have the third type, the behavioral design pattern. So this is the behavioral design patterns are making sure that the communication between different components will be handled by the behavioral design patterns. When it comes to Apex specific patterns, we have few areas. The first area is the custom setting. So by using the custom setting and the design patterns are hand in hand items. If I just take the structure, the singleton, factory method, and builder, and also we have abstract and the prototype. So those 5 design patterns can be implemented by using custom settings. For example, if we use the singleton, so developers can centralize configuration to have a centralized configuration management and avoid data duplication by using singleton pattern. And likewise, the factory method and the builder pattern, and also the abstract and prototype. So these 5 patterns can be implemented by using custom settings. And the other point is under the Apex specific patterns, trigger and handler patterns. How many of you have, I think most of you have already done these kind of trigger handler patterns. Any experience that you can share with us with trigger handling? Again, I have a swag to share. Yeah. Mm. Uh, Yeah, exactly. So this is for you. Yes, exactly. So when we are talking about the trigger and the handler patterns, so we have few areas that we should cover. The first thing is single responsibility principle (SRP). So by using these single responsibility principles, each handler class should have a single responsibility and or the reason to change or adhering to SRP. And by using SRP, we can avoid implementing multiple unrelated functionalities within a single handler class. And the second point is I mentioned about one of the importance, separation of concerns. So by keeping the trigger logic separate from the business logic, we can maintain code in a clarity way and the maintainable way. So by using this, this actually avoid embedding complex business logic in the trigger itself. And the third one is handler composition. So we can use multiple handler classes to handle different aspects of the trigger logic. Uh, by using this composition, we can this is in a way that it promotes the code reuse, because when we are using these compositions, we can reuse the code and also we can increase the modularity. The fourth one is trigger context management, especially by using this trigger context variable to access the information about the trigger event and the records being processed. So we can avoid these, I think you mentioned about the recurring. So we can avoid these recurrence by using the trigger context management. And also the fifth one is the maintain consistency. Especially um, we need to use naming conventions, especially when we are using this kind of structure. We need to use the naming conventions and also to adhere to the coding standards. The third one, the next item is the bulkification strategies. Again, this is under the Apex specific patterns. I think this is many of you have some interesting stories about the bulkifications. Anything that you can share? The trigger or any Apex related qualification? Mhm. Ah, yeah, exactly. So, right. So we have few areas. First thing is bulk DML patterns, and when we are using these bulk DML operations, as Ashi mentioned, we can avoid all these DMLs within the loop, and we can use the bulk DML operations, and also the by using aggregate data, we can establish the bulkification strategies. And the second one is query optimization patterns. We have now, when we are querying through SOCL, we can use different methods. Sometimes some developers they just query everything. But if we using selective queries, then we can avoid these. We can increase the optimization on SOQL queries, and also we can use the relationship queries to again to optimize the um, query pattern, query optimization. And the third one is handler patterns. So we discussed this trigger and handler patterns in the previous slide. And the fourth one is service layer. So to implement the uh, service layer architecture, we need to centralize the bulk operations and also the business logic. So with this, the service classes can handle complex data manipulation task. So then we can separate the service from the business logic. And also bulk error patterns. the error handling patterns. Again, this is something when we, especially when we are having the complex system, especially integrated with multiple systems, we should use this centralized bulk error handling patterns. Then we can get all these errors in one place, and it will be a support to the team when we are getting any issue. It is easily we can identify the issues, and troubleshooting will be easy. All right. So now we have few areas to discuss about architectural patterns. The first one is layered. In the layered architecture, this is actually a common architecture pattern. So that divides the application into distinct layers. The each layer will have a specific responsibility. For example, we have in some, especially in Salesforce, we can divide this into presentation layer, the business logic layer, the data access layer, and also optionally the integration layer. It is depending on the situation. And the second one is MVC. I think this is something you have already heard about, because Salesforce is also on MVC architecture. So this model view controller, again, the it is separating the model view and the controller classes. And we have a service layer pattern. In this service layer pattern, this is actually a design pattern that helps to organize uh, and centralize the business logic and data operations within the application. And then we have domain driven design, so we call it DDD. This is an approach to software development that we emphasize the importance of understanding the domain or the problem scope. And also, while DDD principle can be applied for various softwares, including those built on Salesforce platforms, as well as some adaptation may be necessary due to the Salesforce specific architectural and constraints. And also, we have three more architectural patterns. And with the time constraints, I'm going through this, and special topic is there as the next slide. So we have three more architecture patterns, then event-driven architecture and microservices, and also command query responsibility segregation. All right. So now we talked about different types of patterns, and creational, structural, behavioral, apex specific, and also architectural. So now, why we consider this integrating patterns in apex projects? Anyone has any experience of integrating? What is this integrating design patterns? So today morning we had a session on headless architecturing. Sahan, do you have anything? Yeah, exactly. So mainly we need to integrate these design patterns, especially when we are having a complex situation. So for a complex system, we cannot fulfill everything by using one pattern. So it should be handled. The one pattern can handle the specific area, but when it comes to an enterprise system, we cannot use one design pattern to complete our system. So this is a process of combining multiple patterns to address the complex requirement. And also this approach involves the leveraging the strength of different patterns, because when comes to one pattern, they have a specific area that they cover. And if you are using different multiple patterns in our design, so then we can increase the then we can use that abilities within our system, and it will increase the flexibility and the scalability of the solution. And also, especially by combining these patterns, developers can break the complex problem into smaller and apply the particular pattern into that in that particular area, and it should be manageable piece. All right. So there are different multiple importance of pattern integration. Anyway, I will share this presentation with the organizers. I think you can access this presentation also. So I will take couple of special areas, especially by using this integrating pattern integration. We can leverage the ability of different patterns. That is one, and also it will support us to create more robust and flexible solution. And also this will improve the code maintainability and scalability. And reusing uh, the proven design patterns, developers can build upon existing solution, so they can avoid reinventing the wheel. And also so this will bring the consistency and the standardization in across project. All right, so we discussed these points as well, like once we combining these patterns, it leads to the robust solution by by resolving the comprehensive problem solving. Modular and reusable components will be there, flexibility and adaptability again, and improving maintainability and scalability, and enhance the performance and efficiency. So these are the main areas. There are three approaches, the three strategies on these design patterns. So we can combine these patterns in these three ways. The first one is layering, second is composition and adaptation. I think in the morning, one of the morning session, Sahan also talked about the headless architecturing, and they were talking about the layering approach in their session as well. So in this layering, we will uh, we bring the distinct layers, and each layer has different responsibility. And by using this separation, by using this layering, we can separate the concerns, as well as we can make the code base more modular and maintainable and scalable. In composition patterns, we we patterns bringing together to form high level abstracts. So by using this abstract or the composite patterns, we can uh, combine the strength of multiple patterns into patterns to address specific architectural concern. And by adapting or extending the existing patterns, then we can meet the unique requirement of a specific project or domain. And modifying pattern implementation, combining multiple patterns to form hybrid solution, or introducing customization to suit specific needs. So these are the three strategies that we can use in the pattern integration. Right. As the last step, so I have two case studies and one real world example to explain or discuss about the integrating pattern. The first case study is optimizing optimizing data access with layered architecture and data access object pattern. So we have a project that involves handling large volumes of data and complex data access requirements. So when we are having this kind of project, we have a challenge. That is, this project will face the challenges related to the insufficient data access and high query complexity and performance bottlenecks, because we need to access large volume of data. So then what is the solution? So this I'm explaining these case studies, then you can go back home and look at these areas, and you also can think about. So in this particular project, the solution is, so we need to implement the layered architecture combining with the data access object pattern. So then the team can optimize the data access by separating concerns as well as abstracting the database interaction. That is the solution. And when we are implementing, we need to see how the layered architecture divides the application into presentation, business logic, as well as the data access layer, while the data access object pattern encapsulates the data access logic in reusable manner. And the impact that we get, the integrated approach, the results, the improved performance, and also the scalability and maintainability of the application, and it enables the efficient data retrieval and manipulation. So we had the challenge and we have a solution, and also we have the impact of once we implement this solution. And right, so in this presentation haven't planned to explain more on this, but definitely I can connect with you. We can discuss. Yeah. And the second case study, this is we have a Salesforce project that it has a complex trigger logic and the business process automation. The challenge is again the trigger logic and the tight coupling and difficulty in unit testing especially. So the solution is we can adapt the trigger and handler patterns and with the service layer pattern, and the team can refactor the trigger logic into modular and reusable components. Again, in the implementation, we need to see how these triggers can decouple the business logic and delegate to handler classes. And so again, the impact we get from this solution is we can improve the code organization, testability, and also the flexibility of the solution, and also it allowing us to maintain the system easier. We have one more example. The overview is this is to showcase the implementation of event-driven architecture in a Salesforce project to handle the asynchronous processing task. So the challenge is this needs again to process large volume of data asynchronously while maintaining the system responsiveness and scalability. For this, the solution is to combine the event-driven architecture with platform events and asynchronous apex. So with this, we can we can improve the system responsiveness as well as the scalability, reliability, and we can enable the application to handle asynchronous tasks, especially the asynchronous tasks, efficiently while maintaining optimal performance. So we talked about the different patterns and also the integrating design patterns and what are the importance and how we can do that. And also we quickly went through the case studies and examples to understand the importance of the integrating pattern. So with that, I'm concluding my session with the time. But if you have any question, we can discuss now, or else I will be here. So we can connect later also.